I'm there.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Coffee Time with Blind United. Of course, I am Ed, and I am joined in the studio today by Brittany and Pedro, and we have a special guest, Chef Debra Erickson from the Blind Kitchen. So, good evening, good morning, Deborah.
Good morning, everyone.
Brett.
Good morning, Deborah. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're gonna leave Pedro alone because he's working diligently in the background right now. So we'll get rid of him. We'll talk with him a little bit later. So anyway, what we do, Deborah, is we actually get started by talking about today's interest groups, which today just happens to be yours, like a coincidence, right?
I think not.
So, but anyway, so today is Deborah's interest group. Deborah does an interest group with us at 2 p.m. Pacific time, or as Brittany likes to say, PlayStation time, where she discusses many tips and tricks and stuff within the kitchen, as well as highlights some of the products that she offers on her website that she uses around her kitchen. So, you want to tell them a little bit about what you got going on today, Deborah?
I sure do. So today we pick a different topic for each month. And this month we're going to do high and low tech ways of labeling things in your kitchen and pantry. It's very important to be organized and be able to find the things you need in your kitchen. So there's not one right answer for everyone. There's 12 right answers. It just depends on your comfort with technology, your budget. Can you read Braille? There's just all different ways of doing things.
Right. Okay. Well, again, so we will be doing that again at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So for those that follow us on a regular basis, please come in, check Deborah out, and listen to what she's got going on and learn how to label your stuff and keep it organized so you don't grab salt instead of pepper and all that kind of stuff.
Makes a difference.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, uh, anyway, you got any questions for her, Britt, before we get started? Did I lose Brittany?
No, I just basically I want to know, how did you come up with the idea for your business?
Oh, good question. I had absolutely no intentions of starting any business of any kind. I graduated from culinary school in 2019, and I knew I wanted to teach people with vision loss how to cook. And I started working immediately at the Oregon Commission for the Blind. And I was teaching there, and then March of 2020 came around and COVID came along, and I was paused for a year and a half. So during that year and a half, because I didn't know how to teach cooking remotely, I still don't know how. I'm working on it, and I've got ideas, but at that point, I was definitely not able to teach cooking remotely. And so I just started organizing all of the information I had gathered, because there's a lot of times you'll listen to a blog, it may have one title, but then somebody will put out something small, but it's a jewel. And so it's hidden within that whole hour podcast. So I decided just to pull it together. And as I tried to organize it, there's a lot of different things that go into cooking. And so that's COVID is how the Blind Kitchen came to be. Organizing the information I'd learned and didn't have time to put together because I started teaching right away. So now I got my wish for a year and a half. Goodness.
All right. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and we're going to play our little intro thing here, social media stuff. You're going to love this, Debra. Be right back with you in just a minute, and then we'll get started on some of your videos or clips anyway.
You can visit our website, blindunited.org. That website again is blindunited.org. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or would like to be added to our email list, you can email us at info@blindunited.org. That email address again is info@blindunited.org. If you would like to reach us by phone, you can call us at 909-846-8825. That number again is 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Blind United 22. You can follow us on our Facebook group, which is Blind United Interest Groups, and you can also join our Facebook page, Blind United. Blind United. Blind United. Blind United.
All right.
Good morning, guys.
Let me do a little quick apology right quick, Pedro. For everyone listening in, maybe listening a little bit later, I want to sincerely apologize for all the emails you received today, this morning, about the interest groups. I am having some issues with my email, so I wasn't trying to send it out to everybody 5-6 times, but it just happened to work out that way. So please bear with me. I'm working on this as hard as I can, and I truly do hope to have this resolved really, really soon. So you ready, Pedro?
Yeah. Which clips you guys want to start with? They got the auto, I think it's auto spout. I'm not too sure.
Do you have a preference, Debra? Which one do you want to start with?
No, the auto measure spout is a fun one. Go for that.
Okay.
Cupcake with bright frosting appears against a white background. It hops forward and gasps as it discovers 3 muffin pans that exactly look like braille cells. 7 more brightly colored cupcakes appear. At the whistled command of the original cupcake, hop into the various muffin holes to form the braille letters TBK. The muffin tins are replaced by the Blind Kitchen logo, green braille letters TBK on a white background. Fade to black.
I love it.
Hello, and welcome to the Blind Kitchen, where we make cooking easier for people with vision loss. I'm your host, Debra Erickson, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the auto measure spout.
Debra is wearing wine bottle earrings. She is wearing a black chef's coat and a green apron with the Blind Kitchen logo on it.
The purpose of the auto measure spout is to dispense exactly 1 tablespoon of liquid into the receptacle of your choice, such as a bowl or a pan. In front of me, I have a white work tray and a clear glass bowl into which I'm making a recipe that requires 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Also in front of me, to the right of the tray, are 2 identical half wine bottles, both of which have the auto pour spouts on them. One contains olive oil and one contains vegetable oil. Despite the fact that these are the same shape and size, I can tell which one is the olive oil because I've slipped a rubber band around the neck of the bottle. The way I remember is I think, rich people wear rings. The rubber band is kind of like a ring, so it's more expensive. You're going to have to figure out your own system. The reason the auto measure spout is so adaptive is because it allows one hand to do the work for you and the other hand to see for you. So in order to dispense 1 exact tablespoon of liquid into this bowl, I can use one hand to lift the bottle and turn it over and pour it, and the other hand can locate the dish or pan that I want the oil to go into. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this little tool works its magic, but I'm going to tell you what I do know about it. It's made of plastic and it has stainless steel ball bearings in it. You can hear them there. And what it does is when I pick up this olive oil bottle with the spout on it, it is going to pour 1 tablespoon of liquid into this bowl. But it's going to do it in a slow way. You're going to have to first tip it upside down, and you're going to wait a second while the cavity fills, and then it'll start to dispense. So you'll hear it delay a second. And then what I also want you to notice is that it stops automatically. I'm going to tip this upside down, I'm going to hold it upside down, and I'm not going to turn it back upwards. And you'll see it dispenses it and stops itself automatically. So here we go. I'm going to turn it upside down. And there, voila, it's magic. It stopped. I am still holding this bottle completely upside down, and the liquid is no longer dispensing. So let's say I want a second tablespoon in this bowl. I'm going to pull the bottle right side up again, and again, I'm going to tip it upside down, and I want you to listen again. You'll notice it takes a second or two for the liquid to start going into the bowl, but then I'm not going to squeeze it, I'm not going to shake it, I'm just going to leave it upside down, and it's going to magically stop after that 1 tablespoon is in there. So here we go again. I'm still holding it upside down. It stopped. Real game changer. Caring for your auto measure spout is really simple. You can wash it in the dishwasher, or if you prefer, you can wash it by hand. The only thing you really need to be mindful of is that all oils, as they age, can become rancid over time. And because there is olive oil inside the cavity of this spout, you're going to need to clean it every once in a while so it doesn't develop that off taste and smell. Thank you for being a member of the Blind Kitchen community. I know you're going to find your auto measure spout a very helpful part of your cooking activities. So until next time, happy cooking.
She smiles towards the camera. Fade to black. The Blind Kitchen logo appears. Fade to black.
All right.
It's weird listening to yourself, I got to say.
I say that all the time, Deborah. I say every time I go back and listen to one of these things, is that me? So, I mean, I know a little bit about this because you did this, you covered this, I think, last month in what you were doing with Blind United. So, a couple points I have. Number one, I did hear on the second time. I'm pretty sure I could hear the liquid being dispensed.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a good thing. Number two, I noticed, and you actually mentioned it, so you had to put all of the olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever, let's just say vanilla, whatever the case may be, you have to put that in a wine bottle?
So the wine, it fits every wine bottle, a normal wine bottle. So that's why I chose those. Plus they're dark glass, so light is the enemy of oil. It'll make them go bad faster. So the fact that they're very dark helps preserve the oil. So it fits just one size, and I'd have to look to my notes to find out what size the opening is. But it fits into some some bottles perfectly just as they are as they come off the store shelves. And the same thing goes for vinegar bottles. They'll fit right on it. So just to give you an idea, it's about the size of the mouth of a liquor bottle. That's what makes it'll fit on. So if you find out that your bottle is too big, like milk is going to always be too big, you will have to transfer it to another container.
So, and then just so people know, Debra takes stuff that may not necessarily be intended for this kind of thing, but found that, so this is what we call adaptive accessibility items, correct?
That's exactly right. About 90% of the items in the blind kitchen, the tools, were not made for blind or visually impaired people. That auto measure spout is one of them.
Right. So just so you know, if you ever been to a bar and you see the guy with all the bottles of liquor in the back with the little spout on it, his might not be auto measure, but it's basically the same thing.
It is. So let me tell you why these were made. They were made so that if I'm a bartender and my bar manager is somewhere behind me, I can't see him, I don't know where he's at, and my buddy comes in and I'm supposed to give him 1 tablespoon of liquid. They come in different measurements, but tablespoon was the one most useful for the kitchen. Then I'd pour him the right amount, for his drink, but then I'd have to tip the bottle up and over again, and maybe the manager would see me do it. So it's about controlling costs that you can't free pour. Right. And I've also looked for these in teaspoon size, and I have not been able to find them. I guess people want more than a teaspoon of liquor. I don't know.
Right. I'm going to say, because I know the ones at the bar, they're going to give you at least a shot.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know how big that is, how many ounces, whatever, but yeah, so.
Yeah, teaspoon isn't going to do it.
So, Britt, you got any questions on this one? I think she's still there. She likes to mute herself.
Yeah, about the teaspoon. Any measurement lower than a teaspoon?
So they don't sell them in the teaspoon measurement. So 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. Oh, okay. They do sell them smaller than the tablespoon, but not in the teaspoon amount. Just can't find it.
Oh, okay.
So it would be like a half a tablespoon?
It is.
The next one down?
I think it's a half an ounce. Oh, I don't know. There are like 40 different sizes. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. Okay. Like 1 2/3 tablespoon and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know why that is useful, but they wouldn't make them if someone wasn't able to use them.
Well, I guess it would have to do with, the recipe for various cocktails.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Yep.
Yeah. Because I cook for my kids, and sometimes measuring the oil or like the sauce and things like that gets a little difficult trying to aim for that spoon, and then especially for medicine. Right. That's another thing, because when my children were small, measuring a teaspoon was a little difficult.
Well, funny you should mention that, and I'm going to send you $20 after we're done here, because the next video talks about measuring teaspoon, tablespoon, half teaspoon of liquid perfectly, efficiently, and without waste. So there is a solution that's pretty creative. I think you'll be interested in it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's pray. We're gonna play a little bit of social media, guys. And which clip would y'all like to get into?
Which one you want next, Debra?
That'll be the wet measure spoons. It's a good transition.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be back then, guys.
Okay.
I thought I had. Here we go.
You can visit our website, blindunited.org. That website again is blindunited.org. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or would like to be added to our email list, you can email us at info@blindunited.org. That email address again is info@blindunited.org. If you would like to reach us by phone, you can call us at 909 909-846-8825. That number again is 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Blind United 22. You can follow us on our Facebook group, which is Blind United Interest Groups, and you can also join our Facebook page, Blind United. Blind United. Blind United.
Cake with bright frosting appears against a white background. It hops forward and gasps as it discovers 3 muffin pans that exactly look like Braille cells. 7 more brightly colored cupcakes appear. At the whistled command of the original cupcake, hop into the various muffin holes to form the Braille letters TBK. The muffin tins are replaced by the Blind Kitchen logo, green Braille letters TBK on a white background. Fade to black.
Hello, and welcome to the Blind Kitchen, where everyone has a seat at the table. I'm your host, Debra Erickson, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the wet measure spoons. Today, I'm wearing a chef coat that has various shades of lavender and a tie-dye pattern. I'm wearing a white apron with the Blind Kitchen logo and earrings that have a knife, fork, and spoon dangling from them, just in case I need them. In front of me, I have a work tray, and on it are several items, including a bowl that I want to transfer wet ingredients to. I have a small funnel, a 2-ounce bottle of vanilla, a small spouted pitcher, and I have 4 different sizes of measuring spoons. The wet measure spoon system in the Blind Kitchen is very unique. If you're trying to transfer and measure wet ingredients and you have vision loss, it can be quite difficult. The old-fashioned way was to pour a little bit of liquid, touch it. Is it full? Nope, I don't think so. Pour a little more, touch, check. It really is quite impossible to know if a liquid measure tool is level to the top in an efficient way. The Blind Kitchen has solved that problem. The design of the wet measure cups and spoons is unique. First of all, if you think about it, in our society, when we want to transfer large amounts of liquid efficiently, such as soup, we use a ladle. The ladle is the way to go, and so we use that concept to design these measuring spoons. So, similar to a ladle, the handle points upwards towards the ceiling. The other thing that makes the wet measure cups, and it's actually the spoons, the dry measure cups, the dry measure spoons in the Blind Kitchen, is they have a series of bumps on the handle. So on the spoon I'm holding in this hand, it has 1 bump, so I know it is 1 teaspoon. If it had 3 bumps on it, I would know it's a 1/3 teaspoon or a 1/3 cup, 2 for a 1/2 cup or a 1/2 teaspoon, and 4 for a 1/4 cup or a 1/4 teaspoon. It's very easy to do. Just the touch of your finger, and these are part of the handle, so they'll never fall off in the dishwasher. So the way the wet measure system works, you need 3 tools for this. You need the small spouted pitcher that will come with your set, and you also need the funnel. So now it's time to get to work. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and arrange my work area so that I can transfer 1 teaspoon of vanilla into the target bowl. The first thing I'm going to do is locate the teaspoon. And I know it's a teaspoon because it has 1 bump on it. I'm going to put the other ones over here to the right of my work tray to get them out of play. The next thing I'm going to do is locate the little spouted pitcher. And I'm going to put it near the target bowl. And I'm going to set the teaspoon with the upturned handle into that little pitcher. And the reason is for this. The spoon is now able to stand up on its own, and I'm again hands-free, with 1 hand to see for me and 1 hand to do the work for me. So the next thing I'm going to do is to grab the bottle of vanilla. I'm going to take the lid off and be very careful to know exactly where it is. I'm going to hold the vanilla bottle in my dominant hand, and with my non-dominant hand, I'm going to put my index finger into this little spouted pitcher and locate the top of that spoon. And the reason I'm going to do that is, in the past, we were very careful to pour a little and check and pour a little and check with your finger so that we didn't overflow the spoon and waste any of the expensive ingredients such as vanilla. But I am going to encourage you to completely submerge the cavity of that teaspoon in the cup. There won't be any waste. I'll explain how in a minute. So right now I'm locating the vanilla bottle near the pitcher and I'm pouring it in. I'm going to wait until my finger touches it. Oh, there we go. It's under liquid. And the first thing I'm going to do is put the lid back on the vanilla because this is a recipe for disaster if I'm not real careful here. So I'm putting the lid back on. And now I've got the small spotted pitcher and I'm going to get it as close to the target bowl as I can because I don't want to have to travel very far. And now I'm going to lift the teaspoon straight up. I didn't hear anything fall, so I know it's level and it's exactly a teaspoon, and I'm going to dump it into the bowl. And you may say, vanilla's expensive. What are you doing? All that's going to go to waste, but it's not. That is where the funnel comes in. So I'm going to take the funnel and I'm going to put it inside the vanilla bottle. So now it's going to be very easy for me to direct the vanilla back into the vanilla bottle using the spouted pitcher in the funnel. There we go. And there you have it, folks. No waste. I know I got a level teaspoon in there, and I'm going to get on with the recipe. Caring for your wet measure tools is easy. The spoons are made of stainless steel, so you know they'll never rust or stain. The food-grade plastic that makes up the funnel and the small spouted pitcher makes all of these tools able to be hand washed or dishwasher safe. I hope that you'll find this wet measure system useful for you. And until next time, happy cooking.
She smiles towards the camera. Fade to black.
All right. Okay, a couple quick questions.
Okay.
You said 1 dot is 1 tablespoon, but then you also made the statement that 1 dot was 1 cup. So I guess there's 2 different sets.
There are actually, that's a good question. So there are 4 different sets. There are, each of which has 4 different measurements. So the dry measure cups and then the dry measure spoon sets, the handles are just like normal ones, probably what you have in your kitchen right now. Then there's wet measure cups and wet measure spoons. Those are the ones with the upturn handles.
Okay.
And the 1 cup of the 3 sets, the teaspoons of the 2 sets, the teaspoons don't come with a 1 cup measurement. They have 1 dot. But where it gets a little confusing is when you're working with the teaspoons, whether wet or dry, because you have a teaspoon and a tablespoon and a half a teaspoon and a quarter teaspoon or half cup, quarter cup. We couldn't put, I just misspoke, teaspoon or tablespoon. It would be confusing if we put 1 dot on the tablespoon and 1 dot on the teaspoon. They qualify because 1/1 is 1, the fraction. But what we did is we just left the tablespoon blank and put the 1 dot on the teaspoon. So that's the only tool that does not come with a dot is the teaspoon. The tablespoon is the only one that does not come with a dot that you need to count.
Okay. So basically there's the wet ones are the ladle style and the dry ones are regular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
all right, well,
Pedro, are you going to over-medicate your kids anymore?
No, I'm not.
But, they sleep better.
Those are cool tools, even for baking, because I do bake. I baked those cakes in the oven and measuring and stuff. And I have my kids help me, and we do it together as a family. But sometimes I want to surprise myself, and I do have measuring things, but sometimes, looking with your finger and then looking over again and again, it becomes tedious.
Yeah.
You're
right. And a lot of the tools in the blind kitchen are based on eye strain. It's exhausting. And also bringing anything up close to your face to be able to read it if you have, vision loss, but you can, see some stuff. It's near your nose, it's near your mouth, it's near your hair. It's just the idea is your posture's bad because you're doing your best to see it. With these, you don't even you can just stand up tall and just count the dots on your finger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it come handy for all kinds of different things,
Hmm.
Let's say even if you're creating like a protein shake and you need a tablespoon or two of a powder or something like that, or let's say you're doing chocolate milk and you want to put like a teaspoon or two or a tablespoon of syrup, like the chocolate syrup and stuff like that, man. I could see so many different uses for those guys. If y'all watching and listening, you put the description up too, Ed,
Description of.
like to
Oh
get in
yeah, yeah, yeah,
contact.
yeah. I got all her website stuff is on the description.
Okay.
Her email, everything is all in the description. So another quick question, Deborah. So let's just say we're talking about dry stuff now, right? So we're talking about, whether it be salt, pepper, seasoning salt, whatever the case may be, or even, we'll get into the cup stuff, right? Flour,
Hmm.
sugar, that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Can we also use that spouted pitcher? Or is it better to just scoop it out and level it off? Or
I've never tried it with a powder or a dry ingredient. I can't imagine it would work, but I think the liquid is the key. But I'll give it. It's a good idea. I'll have to give it a shot. But I can't imagine that would work.
I'm just thinking, as long as a
Yeah.
funnel, it might be a different funnel because, of course, the mouth of a vanilla bottle is very, very small.
Hmm.
But, as long as it's dry, the funnel that I'm speaking of, when you pour it back into the funnel with a big enough spout, it could go back into the bag or back into, whether, like I said, might be the salt or sugar or whatever the case may be.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about the auto measure spout with the ball bearings.
No, no, no. I'm thinking about
Oh,
in that smaller picture, like you talking about to catch the overreach.
so Ed, funnels are our friends. We actually sell a set of funnels in the Blind Kitchen. I assume most people have them, but if you don't, we have a nice set of three. And yeah, they funnels are absolutely your friend because they give you a bigger target generally than the bag and allow for more control.
Right.
Um, without a doubt, they're also really good for like filling water in coffee makers. Some of those are really hard to get in there and pour and stuff like that. But if you have a long enough neck on your funnel, now you've got a much bigger target than that little crack below the between the lid and the place you're supposed to pour your water in the coffee maker.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
use funnels, they're our friends.
yeah. And I'm just thinking about back in the day when my mom used to sell Tupperware. So all of the flour, sugar, all of that stuff went in those Tupperware containers where it was actually really easy to take, a cup and scoop out a cup of flour or a cup of sugar or whatever. But
Mhm.
nowadays they don't. I mean, I don't know that they sell those kind of canisters anymore, kitchen canisters, but most people are pouring right out the bag. And I'm just thinking, okay, well, if we could pour it right out the bag into the cup and it's going to overflow, would go into that pitcher, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Then we could take and pour it back out of the pitcher into the funnel, back into where the sugar goes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of canisters, and they have quite a few on the market. I don't think Tupperware anymore, but they have quite a few that seal real tight, different sizes, different
Yeah.
shapes, different lids. And yeah, I would never work out of a bag. That's just a mess.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I got my like the sugars, like in my children's house. I have it all like in those plastic sealed tight containers, rice,
Right, right, right,
beans,
right.
all that.
It definitely makes it a lot easier to deal with. So,
with
Correct.
without a doubt.
uh,
But
yeah.
but
Brittany,
speaking of
go
funnels,
ahead.
while we're talking Tupperware, I used to love to go to Tupperware parties and stuff like that. And I have two funnels. I don't think they make them anymore, but they're kind of they're the shape of Hershey's Kisses. They have a little, so I form my while the Rice Krispie squares are still warm. I put them in, I grease the funnel and I put them in there, and now I've got a Rice Krispie square that's shaped like a big Hershey's Kiss.
Okay, you use the funnel as a mold in essence.
Exactly.
Okay, that's creative. I like that.
But I don't think you can get those anymore. They came over on the Mayflower, I think.
So you back with us, Britt? I'm not sure. I know you were there, but
I'm here. I'm gonna read the comments. Happy birthday, Pedro. A lot of those. So
yeah, I'm sorry about that, my brother.
That's right.
It's been a hectic morning. I forgot to say happy birthday, my brother.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you down in the comments. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I forgot to check the comments. I was uploading in the background, you know.
Well, we all stay a little busy in here, so that's the only comment you had, Britt, and I bet that was Monica, right?
Probably, but yeah, that's the only comment that I have.
Okay, well, we know she gonna make sure she says hello,
and we know that she's gonna watch. If nobody else watches this, at least we know Monica watch.
Right. Well, watch us live. We'll put it that way, because a lot of people catch us later on in the day. So,
correct.
Let's move to the next one, Pedro, which is the boil plate.
Or the boil alert disc.
Yeah.
With bright frosting appears against a white background. It hops forward and gasps as it discovers 3 muffin pans that exactly look like Braille cells. 7 more brightly colored cupcakes appear. At the whistled command of the original cupcake, hop into the various muffin holes to form the Braille letters TBK. The muffin tins are replaced by the Blind Kitchen logo, green Braille letters TBK on a white background. Fade to black.
Hello, and welcome to the Blind Kitchen, where everyone gets a seat at the table. I'm your host, Debra Erickson, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the boil alert disc.
She's wearing a yellow chef coat, a black apron with silver trim, and the Blind Kitchen written on leather.
Now I'm going to demonstrate exactly how to use the boil alert disc, and then I'm going to explain the science. For this demonstration, I am going to make fresh pasta. 1, because it only takes 2 or 3 minutes to cook, and 2nd, I think it makes for a better product. So in front of me on the burner of the stove is a deep steel pan that's about half filled with water. I'm going to take the boil alert disc and I'm going to put it in the very center bottom of the pan. That's really important, and I'll explain why in a minute. I'm also going to make sure I put that disc textured side down in the bottom of the pan, the smooth side up. Now, before I turn on the heat, I'm going to do what is absolutely necessary, and that is to sprinkle some salt in here. I'm going to make this as salty as the sea. That'll add a nice little bit of flavor to pasta for sure. So now, I'm going to turn the stove on high, and we're going to wait to hear it to boil, and you're going to find out what it sounds like. While we're waiting for the water to reach a boiling point, I want to explain to you the science of how this works and why the disc was created. When water reaches 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius, a predictable thing will happen. Bubbles will form in the bottom of a pan of water. They're going to come straight up through the water and disappear as steam. We all know that that's how the process works. But what if you interfere with the development of the bubbles? I'm going to explain to you why it was important that you put the boil alert disc in the center bottom of the pan. The center bottom of the pan is the hottest part of the pan of water because, number 1, it's closest to the heat source, it's in direct contact. And the other thing is, it is not affected as much by external temperatures as the water that nearer the sides of the pan is. So the boiling will necessarily start in the bottom center. The other thing you did was when you put it in the pan, you made sure the textured side was down. And I'll explain why. When the bubbles go to form under this disc, now it's in their way, they're going to have to go around the disc now because it's carefully weighted and they are not able to lift it. So when they start to form underneath the disc, they can lift it just a little bit because of that textured part that's there. And when they lift it a little bit, then they escape around the side of it. The disc stays in place, and the ceramic disc drops a little bit down. They lift it up just the tiniest bit, and then they drop it down again. So as the bubbles form underneath it and escape, lift it, escape, lift it, escape, that is the rattling sound you hear. The rattling sound is a side effect of this disc. It was created to prevent boilovers. Whenever you're cooking something starchy like potatoes or pasta, you know how it works. The bubbles start to form, and then they climb all over each other, and then eventually work their way up and over the sides, and it can be a real mess. This was created to stop that natural formation of starchy bubbles and to prevent the boil over. The rattle that happens as it presents this natural formation of bubbles is what we find as blind and visually impaired individuals so valuable. Now we don't have to guess or put our ears or faces close to the pot. We can just listen and we'll know when those bubbles start forming. Now the other thing I find valuable about this boil alert disc is when I want the water not to boil. So let's say I'm doing poaching and you don't want it to reach a boiling point. You want to keep it well below 200 degrees. If I'm poaching fish or eggs or pears, I want to know if that water starts boiling. What if I accidentally have it too high or I get distracted and there's not as much liquid as I think is in there? In that case, if I hear the water boiling, I'm going to adjust it. And that's the beauty of this. If you want your water to be boiling really hard and fast, you'll hear a loud, rapid rattle. If you want it just to be more of a simmer, a more gentle boil, then you can just turn it down and the clicks and the rattles will go slower and softer. You can control what's happening in that pan by using your ears. So that's how it works. Oh, there it goes. So right now I have it on high heat. And you can hear the sound. It's getting louder and it's going pretty fast. Now, if I feel like that is too violent of a boil and I want to lower it down to a simmer, all I have to do is lower the heat and I'll listen to the speed and volume of the rattle, and then I'll know when it's where I want it. So I'm turning it down. And you can hear it, the tone is changing. And that's the way you control it. So I can hear that my water is ready to receive the pasta, and I'm going to cook it and drain it, but I want to share at least one more thing with you. When I go to drain the pasta after it's cooked to the al dente that I prefer, I'm going to carry this entire pot, water, pasta, and boil alert disc over to the sink and drain it. I'm going to pour out the disc with the pasta into my strainer. And then, because that boil alert disc is as hot as the pasta and as hot as the water, I am going to give it a chance to cool before I go to retrieve it. Once it's cooled down enough for me to take it, caring for it is easy. It is made of a non-porous material, so no food or bacteria can get stuck in it. It's dishwasher safe, or if you choose, you can wash it by hand. Then just dry it and store it in a handy place so that you'll be able to retrieve it for your next boiling event. Thank you for being a member of the Blind Kitchen community. And you know what we say in the Blind Kitchen, let's hear it for the bubbles.
She smiles towards the camera, fade to black.
Did I really say that?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
so, questions on this. so I got the boiling with the water and the, like say for the pasta, potatoes, whatever. What about if you're doing like tomato sauce or for the pasta or other things that oatmeal.
Yeah, if the liquid is too thick, then the bubbles can't lift it. It doesn't work in very thick liquids like creamy soups but for some like more brothier soups like chicken noodle soup or something like that, that is thin enough, the liquid is. But if you get a very thick liquid like oatmeal, like you're saying, and it depends on how thick your tomato sauce would be, you at some point it's not going to work anymore because it's just going to be weighted down.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's what my point. Like with oatmeal, as an example, again, you put it in there, you wait on the water to start boiling, right?
Hmm.
Before you add your oatmeal.
That's true.
So once it starts boiling, okay, it's time to add the oatmeal.
Yep,
And
and
long
it's not,
as
that
your
disc isn't going to hurt a thing. It's not going to hurt a thing.
and as long as you have your handy dry measure stuff, you can scoop out a cup or half a cup of oatmeal
Hmm. It's
and
true.
dump it right in the pan. So moving it around when you're stirring these, like the oatmeal and stuff, is not going to hurt this at all.
No, it's made of food grade ceramic, and I've never had one break. They also sell them in glass, and they also sell them in stainless steel. But this is the one I found the easiest to care for, the easiest to store, easy to use. I This is the model I chose. So that's another thing about the blind kitchen is there are 9,000 different avocado cutters out there in the world. And so I ordered a whole bunch of them, and each of them had their issues, and I thought this isn't that blind friendly. And then so the one I do sell, I came up with, it's very, very unique. So like with the boil alert discs, I found there were three different kinds, and I tried them all, and the ceramic one was the one I liked best by far.
Okay, well, I thank you for doing the advanced research for us.
That's my
So we
job.
don't run out there and just buy all willy nilly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
how do you know? You don't know. Yeah.
and then again, like if you're cooking something again where you need the water to boil, yes, it's okay to use it. And I guess once it's done, as we scoop the oatmeal or whatever the case may be out, we just
Hmm.
leave that in the bottom pot and then wash it when we wash the pot.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Hmm.
Brett, you got anything on that boiler alert disc?
I have a few questions. Number one, the purpose that they made these discs, was it intended for a visually impaired person, or they made it for another reason?
So it's a good question. They did not make it for visually impaired. In fact, I saw a video on this. It was like from the 70s, the morning talk shows, and they said, does it really work? They never even mentioned the rattle, even though it was rattling like crazy. What it was meant for was when you're cooking starchy foods, like now, water won't do boil over the sides. You know what I'm saying? The bubbles won't climb. But if you're
Yes, yes.
cooking a starchy food like pasta or potatoes, then the
Hmm.
bubbles have starch in them. And so they climb all over each other and eventually climb out of the pan. They don't float out. They're running down the outside, up the sides of the pan and down the sides, and then you can hear it hit the heat source. It's a mess because it's
It's a big
starchy.
mess after the cleanup and all that. Oh, it's a big mess.
Yeah. So this was made to prevent natural formation of starchy bubbles. It's meant to interfere
Okay.
with it, and it does. Yeah.
And now we have adapted it to use it for figuring where things are gonna boil. Another good feature of that, what you was explaining, is knowing the type of temperature and the boiling rate, and able
Hmm.
to customize it with the sound and the tone that the disc makes.
Hmm.
That's another plus right there. That kind of blows me out the water with it, because you can have something boiling low, or you can have something that you want to boil extremely, you know.
Hmm.
and like how you care for poaching eggs and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. And the other two type of discs that you tried, were there like different type of material?
One was made of tempered glass, and it was quite a bit larger. It was about, I'd say, 3 inches around. This one's just a little over an inch around. So it took up more room for storage. But the other thing, when I broke like four of them. If you drop it on the floor even one time, it breaks. And I drop things. That's part of the fun of vision loss. And the other one was made out of stainless steel, and it was like, it kind of was like the lid of a can, and with a little doorway in it, kind of like the lip came up and around in an inverted U. And so that's where the bubbles would escape. It had grooves in it, so the bubbles could form underneath it, and then it would come out that little doorway, sort of.
Yeah.
And that was fine too. But it's a little harder to clean. It's larger to store. I just like this one better. It's so compact.
Okay.
But
It
they
also
all
sounded
work.
like this one would fit in pretty much any size pan where the other ones may not.
Right. If you had it, well, you'd have to have a pretty small pan to not fit the other ones. But the other place this is really nice is if you are making something that if you're steaming, and steaming vegetables, steaming tamales. If you don't hear that rattle, you're in trouble too, because that means you're dry cooking it. So that's the other thing.
Right,
It tells you when you run out of water. If it can't rattle without water.
right. Like you said, when you're steaming something, that just lets you know you still got water.
Yep.
That's also another great use for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Paul said, and I don't think so, Paul, but I'm gonna ask her anyway. He's asking, are you going to cover any of this today in your interest group? I don't think this has anything to do with organizing, but
You know, I kind of meet the people where they're at. If this is where, so I'll talk about a couple of labeling things, and then I'll open up the floor to questions. So if
right.
people are there, if the labeling will take priority, but if you're there, Paul, and you want to ask a question about a different one you have, you're more than welcome to. Also, people often shoot me emails asking specific questions, and it actually spurs me to write blog posts on. I'll be like, oh, I didn't know people were interested in that. And so it gives me, I love getting those emails. It tells me what people are interested in hearing and learning about. So if you write to me at info@theblindkitchen.com with questions, I'll respond to them. But please do come to the presentation this afternoon. If time allows, we'll definitely cover whatever topics the people in the room want to cover.
All right. Well, we
And
got about 7 minutes left, Pedro. You got anything else for
yeah. Do you have an email you could give out to the listeners, just verbally, just so they could go maybe send an email, or your website or social media by any chance?
Sure,
Well,
sure.
yeah, well, she just said it. It's info@theblindkitchen.com is the email.
Hmm.
Okay.
And then the website is www.theblindkitchen.com.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook at The Blind Kitchen, and also on Instagram, The Blind Kitchen 1. Someone took The Blind Kitchen before we got there. And then the other place we're on is LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's all I got for today, actually.
yeah. Well, Deborah, again, I appreciate you, sweetie, and I'm sorry again about all the emails, folks. And to you, Deborah, I'm sorry that I won't be there today to open the room for you. But again, I am going over to CSUN, so I made sure that you'll be able to open up the room and everybody will be able to come in and participate in what you got going on and your interest group. And before we get up out of here, again, if you want to know anything about Blind United, you can reach out to me at ed@blindunited.org. You can visit our website, of course, blindunited.org, www. Also, check us out on Twitter at X. I'm sorry, at Blind United 22. Our Facebook group, our Facebook page, YouTube. Wherever, just type in Blind United, and hopefully we'll pop up. And if we ain't there, let me know, and we'll try to get there. How about that? So, with all that being said.
Also, thank you for the birthday wishes, everyone. The comments and stuff. You too, Ed and Brittany. I know she's back there listening. Thank you to our guests too. I learned a lot. Guys. Did y'all learn a lot? I learned a cool bunch about cooking because I do cook, and sometimes.
Right. Well, again, Debra's got a lot of great stuff going on. I know you haven't come into her group, Pedro, because you're a busy guy as well, but she does a lot of great tips and tricks, and she does also have a lot of great products on her website. So I learn something every time we get together. So again, I appreciate you, Debra. I appreciate you coming on and promoting your group, as well as what you do outside of Blind United. So you're always welcome here. You know that. So
thank you.
With all that being said, I want to wish everybody a great afternoon. I hope you're going to have as much fun as me and Pedro. I know he's over there drooling. He can't wait to get to Anaheim.
Also, happy hump day. I know last time, oh my God, I tripped out and said it on the wrong day, but now I'm on the right day.
Yeah, it is Wednesday today, Pedro, not Thursday like last time.
So. Yeah. So the ones that listen, you're probably laughing at that, but happy hump day.
Yeah, it's all good. So again, come join Debra today at 2 p.m. Pacific time. If you don't have the link, run by Facebook, grab it. It's right there. It's in the interest group. Just go through the schedule right there. The link is right there. Just go ahead, grab it, come on in and join her at 2 o'clock. Okay, so everybody have a great day. Debra, Pedro, Brittany, everybody that's dropped in on the chat. I appreciate everybody, and we will see you on the next one. Everybody have a great day.